Rick Ness has just stunned the entire mining world in the Yukon. The Forsaken plot that everyone dismissed as worthless, dubbed the lifeless territory by residents, has astonishingly yielded more than $70 million in precious metal. Outfits that abandoned it ages ago are now reeling in disbelief as Ness's crew exposes rich deposits far beneath what anyone anticipated. Employing revamped sluice systems and subsurface imaging tech, Ness's squad pinpointed strata that prior groups overlooked. Tightly packed sediment clutching fine particles and concealed or channels. Once the riffles processed the material, the yield skyrocketed in mere hours. By week's close, the harvest shattered all projections, reshaping perceptions of viability in that terrain. This wasn't mere fortune. It was calculated precision. Ness scrutinized antique geological charts, recalibrated water flow patterns, and struck the untapped reservoir lurking just under prior excavation levels. What the competing camps discarded as barren, Ness's ensemble transformed into an unprecedented windfall. It's evidence that in ore extraction, the genuine bounty isn't solely the sediment. It's the intelligence, tenacity, and audacity to venture where all others surrendered. Thumbs up and enroll to witness how Rick Ness extracted $70 million from soil no one trusted. The Yukon appears desolate. A barren expanse of corroded conduits, partially entombed classifiers, and skeletal apparatus suspended in eternity. Locals term it the doomed domain, a parcel so hexed that 3 expeditions went insolvent attempting to harvest it. The eternal freeze engulfed all remnants, converting the locale into a testament of defeat. But then, defying every caution, Rick Ness arrived solitary, resolute. All proclaimed he was doomed post-prior cycle. Excessive liabilities, relentless reversals, yet a blaze flickers in his gaze this round. Murmurs circulate through bivouacs of a profound conduit, one evading prior excavators. Interred beneath primordial icy strata, Ness wagers totality, hypothecates his apparatus, secures clandestine credits, every cent tethered to an intuition he can't substantiate. The ensemble gapes at him as if deranged. Contraptions falter in the gelid mire, fuel reservoirs deplete, but Ness unflinches. He's not pursuing serendipity now. He's seeking validation that the terrain all forsook harbors vitality below the glaze. Days hence, scavenging a dilapidated hut proximate the brook, Ness unearths an anomaly wedged aft a fissured girder, a ledger partially devoured by moisture and chronology. The sheath inscribes K. Beats 1979. Within, manually sketched elevations delineate a fracture no official reconnaissance chronicled. Faded inscriptions intimate an interred passage 160 feet inferior to prior cessation points. The script coarse yet intentional. This wasn't conjecture. This was a blueprint. Ness unfurls the folios upon his bulldozer's cowl beneath a flickering beacon. The ensemble clusters, some chortle deeming it fabrication, but overlaying the delineations upon his acoustic reconnaissance. Contours align nigh impeccably. Identical undulations, identical curvatures, identical concealed corridor, none presumed extant. Abruptly the parcel revives, murmuring enigmas through strata of congealed silt. Dawn erupts with mechanical bellows. Earth movers incise the frosted terrain. Lacerating epics of solidified overlay, alloy moans, conduits rupture, bearings solidify. But none halts. Ness toils 20-hour vigils, sludge encrusted upon his galoshes, orbs fixated upon the furrow. Inaugural assay yields scant flecks, barely veiling a digit, yet sufficient to sustain the ember. Nonetheless, combustibles wane. Morale plummets precipitously. Ness summons an ancient ally, Freddy Dodge. Freddy traverses the incision, scrutinizes barriers, ultimately directs his digit downward. You're perched upon density at 140 feet. That's all Ness requires. Meanwhile, murmurs disseminate. Financiers, adversaries, antique claim poachers lurking like scavengers, wagering Ness would incinerate his final farthing heir striking bounty. But they ignorant of his monitor revelations, the subtle reverberation in the probe, the nuanced mineral compaction variance. Something lurks below, ponderous. Ness tarries not for sanction. He mandates a perpendicular chasm direct downward, flouting every safeguard edict, every alert of compression surge and aqueous subsidence. The ensemble demurs. The overseer mutters imprecations under breath, but Ness's timbre slices the gale. If we cease presently, we forfeit totality. The diggers descend their scoops sequentially, exfoliating terrain stratum by stratum. Pressurized conduits wheeze. Detectors shriek under duress. Slurry congeals with rubble and ooze surging aloft as barrier yields. Then anomalies commence post-obscurity. Terrain commences quivering, faint initially akin remote rumble, then amplified, rhythmic throb. Seismographs chronicle erratic undulation directly inferior to incision. Subterranean aqueous tension shifts, sculpting nascent avenues as archaic conduit rouses primevally. Oscillations rattle receptacles, implements clatter earthward. The ensemble yearns cessation to reevaluate ere furrow implodes. Ness cinches his gauntlets and advances toward precipice, the Titan's clamor reverberating aft. He contemplates the churning mire and murmurs. If it stirs, it signifies proximity, not worth. Pausing, not trepidation, for profound beneath that restless substratum, beyond quakes and din, he discerned the paramount artery awaited, the one transmuting totality. The eve elongates, beacons slicing obscurity, mechanisms delving profounder into antiquity, precipitation cascades, thunder muffling mechanical hum. Unmarked convoy rumbles through mire, beacons extinguished, escorted by armored sentinels in ebony deluge garb, locale barricaded hermetically, nil lenses, nil discourse, nil vestige for orbital trackers, under beacons subdued by nebula, auric ingots laden sequentially into fortified coffers, each massing 50 pounds and embossed solely with two scorched terms upon alloy. Project Titan, deluge hammers as lifters elevate ultimate pallets into conveyances, Orum's radiance glinting beneath canvases, choppers loom distant, crates slung, hoisted, ferried toward clandestine airstrip hewn from wilds where sea. 130 transport lingers with turbines already thundering, every maneuver chronometered, every itinerary preordained and ciphered. Ness supervises totality from illuminated dais, visage streaked with deluge, jacket sealed to mandible, not jubilation, merely hushed. Depleted gratification, Aurum egresses its natal soil, emancipated post-myriad annals immured in glaze, half Aurum already vanished, liquefied, molded into ingots stamped not, but serials and initials RN, sequestered distant from Yukon, impervious, functionaries depart destitute, half Aurum clandestine, rival enterprises enraged, Ness's bivouac serene anew. Soul clue remnant solitary alloy spar protruding mire, etched via incising flare. Doomed domain remunerated plenarily, moons elapse. Niveus veil entombs parcel, transmuting locale into pallid desolation anew. Yet residents persist discourse, certain aver that nocturnal, when zephyrs veer precisely, they discern faint mechanical thrum beneath congealed soil, akin entity persisting subterranean. Then savants scrutinizing antique Yukon dossiers flags aberration, dense magnetic domain inferior locale that ought not subsist. Nascent probes executed, imagery unveils colossal ovate vacancy, impeccably symmetric, excessively sleek. For physis, certain scholars dub it imploded quartz vault, others subtly intimate alternate, perchance archaic construct interred and obliterated air terminal glacial epoch. Scrutiny of reclaimed Aurum deepens enigma. Vestiges of platina and iridium manifest assays, scarce elements, tethered meteoric collision zones, a typical fluvialorum. Revelation reconfigures geologic cartography and insights frenzy. Within Hebdomad's nascent Yukon surge ignites, scores of excavators inundate valley, pursuing. Imperceptible fluvial Ness roused from glacial sepulcher, yet none unearth his quarry. Magnetic metrics endure, conduit persists sealed. Terrain erstwhile lacerated by mechanisms regains tranquility. Legend proliferates swifter than verity that Rick Ness unearthed not Aurum. He exhumed antiquity, entity ne'er destined disturbance, slumbering beneath eternal freeze ere humanity quested fortune.